Good evening. Welcome to another edition of African Americans Ain't Africans, the Think Show that proves without a shadow of a doubt that the so called African American didn't find their way to America in the trunk of a ship. I'm your host, the Indigenous One. And tonight I'm joined by the clan mother of the Accomacs on Virginia's Eastern Shore, Miss Lisa Cypress. Tonight's program is called Engineered Ignorance. So, what you see going on and what you see being put in the news and in front of the people, the shenanigans of the past month should be enough to make anyone vomit. But because the so-called African Black American never remembers nothing, don't know, and this shit happens every damn day, and we don't get it. So tonight we want to share something with you because it seems that that so-called community, that African American community, is always stabbing themselves in the back. Always. Then try to forget like they didn't do it. And they send their kids down the same road every day and try to pretend like they're not doing it. And it's getting to the point now where, damn, y'all don't see this. And these youngsters are asking questions because you have been a piss poor example of if your country is being flooded with immigrants, what should we be doing? That's rarely talked about in the so-called African American community. They don't believe in it. They can do whatever they want to do. Well, tonight we're going to share some things with you, and many of you already know this. I'm sure many of the people in here already know this. This election and how voting, period, is basically engineered ignorance. And by now, you would think we would understand it. And people from other nations come in and run the same tricks on you that was ran on your grandmamas and granddaddies. And the embarrassing part is we ain't learned a thing. So tonight, in showing you this total blatant disregard for you, and just shows how you're a mule to the system, helping me make this presentation is the Accomac Guardian, Miss Lisa Cypress. How you doing tonight, Lisa?
Hey, Kayuk, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this late hour. And sorry we couldn't get it together on yesterday. If y'all was, thinking we were going to get it together, we just kind of missed it, sleepy and, late and that kind of stuff. But, I'm so glad you guys were able to be here. And I'm glad that you are here because seriously, life is a fragile thing at times. And we got to make sure we, keep each other up. Um, I just would like to say, um, just give a little bit of meditation and a positive energy towards my brother, um, Aaron Cypress, who was found dead this morning. He's the brother who was with me when I was arrested. He was my security, um, and you know, just like we gotta hold each other up, and we gotta be there for each other. And all it does is just fuels what I need to do because, you know, our lives should be much different than it is. Our lives should and can be way different than what we're living now. Not that you may not be living a great life, but it could be way different for a way lot more of us if we keep the fight, if we fight for it. So I can tell you very, very, without a doubt that his death has definitely put fuel on my fire on what we Acamax need to be doing, because he saw the vision. He just didn't make it to experience it with us, but hopefully we can make him proud and do all the things exactly how we envisioned, and he was there envisioning and fighting for it with us. So yes, thank you, Veronica. Anyway, but yes, back to whatever we were talking about. We were talking about the fact that um, people are engineered not to. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Sorry, I'm away. Um, People are really like, we're really engineered not to think about anything, not to know anything. And so y'all, like, the whole thing of like, really, when you really are fighting for real stuff, you will not believe how corrupt people are. And the fact that people sit up there and read a bogus news article and believe that I'm just out here doing some crazy fugazi illegal shit is like, y'all believe anything. You know, it's really that people believe anything. And they don't believe that, they don't understand that most of what we are fed are a bunch of lies. Most of these people are a bunch of thieves and frauds and gangsters, mobsters. They're horrible, horrific people. Thank you, Copper Color. Appreciate it. Are running things. And they'll do anything. They'll stop. They'll do anything. They'll do anything to keep what they've stolen. Anything. They're desperados. And they've always been. They came here from a long line of desperados, and they continue that same shit. It hasn't stopped. So I mean, here we are. We need to I don't know, man. It's this. We need to understand just how deep it goes, and even like though we're getting ready to watch something talking about Kamala, and we all know that is, we should be so angry that she even exists. Like, we should be so angry that she even exists in the capacity that she's in. Instead, our own literal sisters, literal brothers, literal cousins, literal friends are like, you know, sitting up there acting like they're thrilled that this crazy, disgusting immigrant is there going winning in our land. Why? Why are they so stupid? Why are they so? Are they like what? Mm, I don't even know.
So listen, we would like to get a lot of you guys' thoughts about this, because sometimes, a lot of times, our voices isn't being put out enough. And we just like to hear some thoughts and ideas from some of the listeners. Do they see what's going on? And it's like Lisa said, immigrants can come over here and run your great great grandmama's great great grandkids. And we're the ones who stab ourselves in the back and then try to play that we don't know. Huh? Nobody told me. I had a talk with a 63-year-old sister and swear this chick is God's Jesus's sister. This is what we act like. And you wonder why people can come over here and walk all over your people's grave sites and you say nothing. That's engineered ignorance. Damn, what about your grandkids? If you letting this happen to you, what you gonna let happen to your grandkids, your kids? This is where we are. So we want to kick off, show you what this chick, who everybody's just up in arms about, what she's putting up and what she's trying to do, what she's trying to be, and how we play along with it. So Lisa, you can go ahead and hit it.
Okay, you want me to play on?
Yes.
Oh shoot, sorry. My grandchildren. Okay. Let's go.
Got a interesting.
I'm scared to talk about Kamala Harris. I'll let you have that one.
She's a witch, and she is a corrupt witch. She's been corrupt her whole life, and she fucked her way to the top.
Oh, Lord.
They used to detail this witch in the LA Times with her sexual escapades. She fucked damn near everybody trying to get up. She used to be a frat hoe when she was at Howard. And she ain't black. You know,
I ain't got to do with this, Miss Harris.
Nah, I mean, well, don't, but she's
I don't know. I'm just listening.
Well, here's the thing. I actually met her father in Jamaica. I was the guest, sat at the governor general's table, and he was a professor.
Okay.
And he represents as a Hindu Brahmin. He admittedly has some Irish in him. All right. The person that Kamala Harris is saying is her black great-grandmother is, in fact, according to Daddy, in an article he wrote, which has now been cleaned up on the online edition of that magazine, was a Hindu house servant, not a black woman. So her mother is listed on her birth certificate as Caucasian, even though she's dark. But she's a Hindu Brahmin Tamil caste. Now, interestingly, do you know what the anthropological name is for what Kamala Harris and her parents are?
No, sir.
Indo hyphen Aryan. See, they are the original Aryans, but Adolf Hitler and his boys told a big lie. The blonde-haired, blue-eyed Aryans from the far north did not exist, never existed. They were the dark to swarthy to paper bag brown, dark-eyed, dark, coarse-haired Indo-Aryans from India. Those actually settled Germany, and some other people came in from the steppes that lightened everything up a bit. So that lie is being told. So you get the Aryan Brotherhood, the Aryan Nation. What's going on is the Aryans they claim to be one with look like Queen Harris. You know, I guess what she did is, you know, LA Times ranked her out. I was out in LA, you know, when she was really.
I can see this article.
Before that, she got out and they ran a thing that when she went to law school, Willie Brown, that was his mistress. They used to have guards.
I heard about that though.
Where they had one I loved. It was a scene Willie Brown sitting behind a desk with his tongue hang out, and Kamala is raising up after doing him, you know. And they ran this thing where he got her a job with a medical supply company that did business with the city of San Francisco. He got her a gig for 15 hours a week for $72,000 a year. And you have to understand that was 35 years ago. And then when they carried a thing where she moved up to 20 hours a week, she getting paid $120,000 for a part-time gig, and he bought her a 750i BMW. She was earning that. So then she had this thing where she was trying to get on with this big firm that wouldn't hire, so she started screwing one of your buddies, an NBA player who was their biggest client. So she got hired. So then they ran a scandal sheet on her where she was trying to get on with the DA's office, so she started screwing the deputy chief DA to get on.
So what do you see? I mean, you have a lot of knowledge. As you can see, you got the chat going crazy.
I really like these bras. I have 4 of them now.
That's just a little bit of what I mean, and you see in the mainstream media, they're using the African American black to push for her to rule over you. And we don't know this. I mean, this is simple shit, y'all. And we cool with it. we would pass this on to our children. So here's my question, and Cynthia, I'll be right with you. Here's my question to the chat. I want to get your idea, your thoughts on this, to see if you're thinking, because what you call Black people, what you call African American, thinking they don't even know what that is because they don't do it. So my question to the chat is this: what do you think your grandmothers, Medgar Evers, Fannie Lou Hamer, all these people that marched and died for you to be in the position to change the position of the indigenous people here in America? What do you think they're saying when they see their children pushing for a woman that Judge Joe Brown just described to rule over them? I want to get the audience's thought on that. And we're going to start with Cynthia. How you doing, Cynthia? Welcome to African Americans Ain't Africans. How you doing?
Hi, Carrie. How
How
are
you-
you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good.
And thank you
Well,
for hanging out with us
I
tonight.
did not, I just joined and I did not see the video. So I don't know. But I don't think she's gonna win anyway.
No, yeah, I can see that, but I'm just saying, not that. I'm about just the energy of the people that are behind her. What you're seeing the so-called African American Black community say about any of this. Because if y'all think voting is it, you'll never get it. You're about 200 years behind if you
Yeah,
think
pretty
that
much.
voting thing is working.
Yeah, pretty much. Voting isn't it? Because even though we vote, it's not our vote that matters. It's who is it? The Electoral College?
Right. See, that's what I'm saying. You get it. I mean, this and how long did it take for you to see that electoral college? All that shit's a sham.
It was real. It was about a few years ago.
Yeah. So I get into an argument with a chick. I'm the demon because I've never voted. It's a shit show, y'all. I mean, damn. I mean, we don't get it. And this is the stuff we pass on to our children, telling them to do it. You have never gotten anything out of voting. Never. But you teach your children to do it. That's engineered ignorance. What say you, Cynthia?
I agree. I do agree. I mean, it starts in the school system, and th- that's where they got us from there. Integration. Integration should have never happened.
So why do you think we're still participating in it? To like you say, the school system. I went to school, public school. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody.
I went to public school.
I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. If you could recommend public school to anybody, who would you recommend it to?
I don't know.
By the time you graduate high school, you could be a doctor, your own doctor, your own school. And that's what I never understood. How come we don't educate ourselves? How come
Right.
we don't,
Why did we stop educating ourselves?
Good question. Good question.
Everything's about a coin. It's about a handout. So when they started, providing government money, saying, okay, we're going to fund your little colored schools now, or we're going to try to make them equal and integrated or whatever and bust you all over or do whatever. Everybody wanted to get that. Oh, maybe I can get better benefits teaching if I teach here or this and that, or we can do whatever. Everybody got caught up on getting a handout from massa when all the while we was making our own making our own money, and making our own industry in our own daggone school system, and we were doing well. That's why you have those women that so-called worked on the so-called rocket, the spaceship, space shuttle, or whatever it was. That's why they weren't educated in integrated schools. That's why they wanted to integrate us, because they were like, oh crap, look at how smart these daggone Negro Indians are, and they're teaching each other. Well, we can't have that. Now, if we got them in our schools, we can dumb them down as much as we want to. We can make sure that they don't know nothing.
That they have done.
And nobody seems to really understand that, because anytime anybody gets any wherewithal or has any daggone, any kind of success, the first thing they do is move out of our neighborhoods. And when they move out of our neighborhoods, they take away the money that they make that keeps our neighborhoods, prosperous, or keeps our tax dollars, fixing up whatever, and goes to our schools. Also, it drags down our test scores. So the brightest and the greatest end up being dragged away to white schools, and they just get mixed in the bunch. And they don't get recruited out of them white schools to go to these places, because they're competing against all these other Asians and whites and Africans, real Africans. They're doing that because they're running up there to be up there with them. It's a dumb, vicious cycle, but nobody really wants to do anything to make it any different. Yet you got people that come here from the Ukraine, Middle East, wherever, anything, any old little raggedy island, anywhere in the world, some little raggedy old country, and they'll come here and they'll, some daggone Middle Eastern, whatever people come here and open up schools, right? Open up schools using the U.S. tax dollars, paying their friends and family that aren't even qualified to miseducate our people. And we'll take our children there. But we won't get together and can start that ourselves. Like we don't want to do that.
I remember when I was growing up, when they were starting the busing thing, and when you say they take the best and brightest, from our community, are they really the best and brightest? Because about that time in school, you've already been through their vetting out process. So when you say the best and brightest, because I know the people they took, those people became Greeks. They got into all these other ideologies, got into rock music and drugs and all kind of other stuff.
Easily influenced.
Huh?
Easily influenced.
Okay. That's it. People that are easily influenced. And now when you look at those same people, you know what they all say? That was a mistake. It took them totally away from their culture, totally away from who they were supposed to be. You see what happened? And this was 40 years ago, over 40, 50 years ago. What are we doing now? And what have we learned from what happened 40 or 50 years ago? How are we learning and applying that today to make it where all these immigrants come over and pimp us like hoes? Right or wrong?
They do. And then they dare you to say anything about it, honey. But who does it? It's us to do it, right? So, I'm sitting up there, like I told you, I had a conversation with my Uber driver the other day, and he was saying, oh, he was actually nice, because usually the daggone Africans, they will leave your ass. They'll go right past you at the airport. They, it's horrific how they treat us. And even another Uber driver that was one of us told me that. He said, yeah, it's happened to him. He's had the Uber driver that's an African come to his house. He went in his bag to get his keys. He acted like he was pulling a daggone gun on him. What are you doing? I'm like, And he said he was dressed in a suit. I was like, what? How are they so racist? How are they so racist? So this guy that drove to pick me up, he seemed to be cool. He had cool energy. I knew he wasn't a problem when I first moment I picked up. But anyway, but he did have he was on the verge of turning, because in our conversation, I realized he was on the verge of becoming one of them problematic ones. Because he said to me, I asked him, I said, are you done for the night? It was like 11. Am I your last one? He says, yeah, you're my last one. I used to work overnight, but I don't do it anymore because I got somebody put a gun to my head. I said, what? He says, somebody put a gun to my head. I was like, wow, what the word? He says, yeah, I was in Riverdale. I said, oh man, you was in Riverdale? Man, do you not know that's like the worst? That is the worst. No offense to anybody who happens to live there, you know what I'm saying? But it is the most crime-ridden place probably in Georgia. I was going to say in the Atlanta area, but I can probably go as far as say in Georgia, period. Riverdale is really, I say, crime capital, right? And people don't talk about it. I don't know why, but it really is bad. So, he was like, oh, I don't know the areas. I've been here 4 years. I said, well, yeah, that's a really bad area. I used to be all rednecks. Then they moved in a bunch of Mexican gang members. Then they had like other countries moving with their gang people. Then people from around different parts of our country start coming in from different, gangs and different stuff. I said, it's a lot of crime, man. It's just a lot. And so he was like, oh, and he says, oh, well, this guy, he put the gun in my head. He says, you give me my cash, give me cash. And he was like, you don't have cash, I'm gonna blow your head off. And then he called his girlfriend and he asked her, he said, man, should I kill him? Should I blow his head off? Tell me what to do. And then he said, I don't know what his girlfriend told him, but he got out the car, he shot the gun up in the air, and he slammed the door. And I was like, oh, he says, he didn't seem right. I said, well, yeah, he wasn't. And he says, but I said, so I'm surprised you're still doing this kind of work. He was like, well, I have to make money. And he kind of gave me a little bit of a toot, like, you know what, I'm going to not do this. And I said, well, I'm going to let you know, one of my favorite jobs in all my life that I had when I was in college. And I had a job cleaning an office at night. It was a government office. I actually didn't say government office because I didn't want to give him too many clues. But I worked I cleaned an office at night by myself. And it was so great. I just ran a vacuum. I had my little Walkman back in the day. And I would just like dump the garbage and take I said, it was great. Nobody was my boss talking to me. Nobody was there. And I said, it was the greatest thing. It was almost like, meditative. But I said, just like, look, there's other shit you can be doing besides we're driving an Uber. I don't know. Maybe cleaning is too good for you. I don't understand. But anyway, basically, then he goes to me, well, I don't understand why a person, I guess his retort to me was, I don't understand why a person has to steal, to make money. And I said, man, you think he was stealing to make money? Like as a choice occupation? I said, sir, that person that robbed you was not right in the head. You saw how he acted. I said, you saw he had to call his girlfriend and figure out where he was going to blow your head off. He couldn't make a daggone, a logical decision. The man was definitely not well. I said, we do not have health care, period, for our daggone insane, our people that have mental health issues. We do not. They're on the street. I said, when he had problems when he was a kid, nobody took care of that. They put him in the system. Right now, they got a whole pipeline where they're getting a record in school. Instead of going to detention, instead of getting mental health help, they're making them into criminals so that they could feed that daggone industry. I said, this is a sick person. He wasn't a person that was like, oh, let me just make money. No. When you're like that, how do you keep a job? When you got his kind of mentality, how do you make money? How do you survive? I said, that's what you are witnessing. I said, do you understand that if I go for a job and you go for a job, you're going to get the job before me? I said, do you understand that our own Negro HBCUs will put you in there and your people and Southeast Asians and Ukrainians or anybody in there before they'll put my people in there. I said, this country, we are not from Africa. And I said, this country is constantly destroying and putting their daggone feet on the necks of our people. Everybody gets everything off the backs of us. And we are constantly kept down. And yet we still thrive and succeed and invent. I said, most of the inventions here were done by us. I said, everything that you see, we do it. I said, and we continue. I said, the proton cancer treatment, that proton therapy was invented by a sister. But nobody talks about that either. Not what we did in the past and not what we do right now. He said, oh, I really learned something today.
See, you're nice. You're nice to them. I try to be real with these cats because when you're fleeing from your home, coming to somewhere else, you should be kissing the feet like you expect us to do when we go to your country. The African American Black doesn't do that. They do what you say these cats at the HBCUs do. They will hire a cadre of people from other nations before they hire their own children. Amen.
Oh, we was at the beach this weekend, and there was none of us, right? We were like all by ourselves, right? It was all a bunch of immigrants. Not just in the general sense of everyone's an immigrant, but like recent motherfucking looking immigrants. Like they ain't been here, like Ukrainians that are still speaking whatever the fuck they speak. And you could tell by the look on their face because they look different than other whites, right? And then they had these I don't know what these were. I can't say they were Mexican. They might have been from some other country. I don't know what but masses of men in the water of I don't know what they were, right? But they was having a great time. And one of them had a fucking ankle bracelet on. And I'm like, oh, okay. You get to come, like I'm saying, you get to come illegally or however, and then you get to daggone, like you already got, crimes going on and you still get to have a good time at the beach. See, this is the thing about vacation. Vacation is something that people do when you got extra, right? Vacation is something that you do when you got the load is not so heavy and you like feel a little bit of lift in your life. Like you got a little space to be able to recreate, right? Recreation comes from a little freedom, a financial freedom, a bit, right? So the fact that all these immigrants felt financially free already and our people were none to be found. First of all, there's a problem with the none to be found because of the oppressive racism that's shown against us when we show up in these beachside territories, that people don't realize that you're going up north as far as Ocean City, Maryland, even Chickateague, that the racism is fierce, okay? These local people are really, really hateful towards the indigenous folk. So that's another reason why some local people, even though they are there or somewhere around, they stay away. Whereas these other melanated immigrants sit up there and can flock there and be welcomed and get shown all the love.
So
The
what I
terrorism.
mean, what I mean is this backstabbing we do on ourselves. Those immigrants see it. They take advantage of it, and we will jump on their side against us, don't we?
Yeah.
So that's the thing that I'm saying and seeing, y'all. I mean, really, and it's really, I mean, for some people who are just observing, you got to see it. I know many of us don't want to see it. We look at TV, we look at sports or whatever. But seriously, the way we going and all this social stuff, since we've integrated, look at where we're at. Seriously, look at where we're at. So, Cynthia, any last sentiments you want to make?
Yeah, I feel like people don't want to acknowledge that they were lied to all their lives. I feel like they feel like they've reached some kind of success in becoming equal to these people. Um, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't see it, but that's what I feel.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's a good question to ask and a good thought to ponder because, I mean, I know people who are millionaires. And when you ask them stuff that they're not accustomed to asking, because most people who got nice cars and not nice houses, those of us that don't, we seem to think these people are some kind of demigods or something. But when you seriously, but when you ask them serious, real questions, they got a look on their face like they don't know what the hell you talking about.
Because they don't.
They don't. And that's what I mean by engineered ignorance. We so yeah, here's I have a friend of mine that's a doctor, and she always brags about how many degrees she have. And I just did a program on this, and I asked her, "Well, what does degree mean?" She didn't know. I'm like, "Well, you got a degree, and since D is the word you put in front of agree,
Uh-huh. Prefix.
what's agree?"
Mhm.
She didn't know. She's a doctor. Check how many people's life has been to her hand. So I told her, agree is mastery, is superiority knowledge that you have. And with the prefix D in front of agree, what does that mean? She goes, no knowledge. I'm like, right. This is stuff. This is simple stuff. Simple stuff that's
Mhm.
not being passed on to me or none of us. Imagine, just imagine this, Cynthia, as you out walking around seeing stuff. Imagine if the mindset of the African American stays like this. What will it be 20 years from now for their children? Coming with
Worse.
you, Jay.
It'll be way worse.
Way worse. Way worse. So, Cynthia, thank you for joining us tonight. And please don't be a stranger.
Indeed. Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Mr. J. Smith, what's going on, homie?
Can you hear me?
Hear you
Hmm.
fine.
What's
Hey,
going on?
Jay.
How you doing, Lisa?
Nice to hear from you.
Same here.
Hmm.
I just came in, so engineered ignorance. Oh, I can talk about that. I just like to share this. Obviously, it starts at school when your parents first take you to the public school system. I remember it as clear as day when my father left me in that school. Um, it was kind of like thought that came to my mind was, what are you doing? Who are these people? Who are these kids? I don't know them. And, he left me there. You know, that type of feeling hits you, but, you get so used to it that, you get taken to this place where you're basically programmed a certain kind of way. So it kind of sinks in after a while, after constant repeats and things like that. But yeah, the school systems, I have my own personal quote. I always say this: if you don't use your mind or have a mind of your own, one will be given to you for them to use. Because with all of the education systems of this world, when you get right down to it, they're literally programming you as a slave in so many ways. And then the religions, they're no better because you're basically put into a position where you're looking outside of yourself instead of from within in terms of your connection to, the universe, nature, the natural, and everything that goes along with it. So yeah, it's been engineered as such, and that's why this world, aka dimension, is the way it is. And the best slave is the one who thinks he or she is free. So all this years of schooling to serve someone else that doesn't contribute anything to society. So yeah, just to speak on the title of the subject matter, it definitely is that way. It just takes a while before you start to realize it. There's a dumbing downing effect right now. They're literally attacking memory. You're seeing more and more dementia slash Alzheimer's cases. It's crazy. And then people they're getting sicker than ever before. So it's really a mess. You're gonna have to keep your composure in a time like this. This decade, 2020, I'm gonna have to tell you, it's gonna probably be the weirdest decade ever from my position looking at it, where they want your child to be confused which bathroom to use, and all this identifying as something that you're not. It's absolute insanity. It's crazy. Yep.
Well, Jay, your comments says a lot because I can tell that you do a lot of thinking and a lot of observing of what's going on and you come to your own conclusions. I just wish that the majority of us did that. So thank you for hanging out with us tonight and sharing your thoughts. And please don't be a stranger.
I'll hang around a little while. I got a short time to be, but I appreciate you having me on. Sometimes if I get any kind of insights, I like to share it with people every now and then.
Well,
And another thing I want to include, people are really starting to show their true colors. Not everybody is as friendly as you think they are. Oh, in terms of the elections, oh yeah, I did that one time. I voted once, but I'll go as far as to tell you I'll never do that again. The point of reason I'm saying that is because when you really get down to it, the only leaders I ever knew was my mommy and my daddy. After that I had to grow up. But I will say this much. Irregardless of whether or not you were satisfied with your mommy and daddy and how they did in raising you as an adult, hopefully you could learn on your own and be your own authority. But if you're looking for another mommy and daddy in the form of these leaders who you do not know, you don't know them, they don't know you. You want them to actually govern you and tell you what to do with your existence. You're going to be met with the consequence of that choice. That's how I look at it. So that's usually what I tell people. Yeah, I'm sorry if I cut you off.
no, you're fine. Please, you have the floor.
Yeah, so yeah, no, I just wanted to throw that in there. I mean that thing with that attempted so-called assassination, that looked like it was staged. It really did. Who in the world knocks the persons that's trying to protect them to the side and stands up there with a communist fist? Who does that, knowing that there could be an active shooter out there? That was so staged. They say the world's a stage, And you know what? It's true. They fabricate. You have a world filled with crisis actors and crisis managers. And when you look at the events that they basically focus your attention on, let's say it's a trigger event that occurs, right? One person slips off a banana peel, whether it be halfway around the world or next door to you. They want to treat you like you did it. They make legislations, you know, trying to get you to give up whatever, you know, liberty you have left. Because I don't dare call it freedom, because they speak freedom, but they give you liberty instead. And that's not the same thing. That's granted to you. It's basically a slack in the chain, but you're still attached to the chain if you follow that particular societal, what they call norm. They said we're never going to go back to normal. What is considered normal
When
in a world like this? What do they mean back to normal?
our
When was it ever normal? That's my question.
It's never been normal. And it's just amazing how over the years, how quickly we've made this normal. And seriously, if you look at our behavior over the past 100 years, it's horrific, especially since everything is meant to get rid of you. Lisa, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think yeah, it's great to hear Jay again, but also it's really interesting. Yes, you know, we just, I mean, they. This is the thing. It it has gotten to the point that the powers that be, have been willing to literally put their own people's life and their own life at risk with the ignorance that they have been trying to promote. All because of greed. Everything is all for greed. Everything we think is real is a manipulation for the greedy. They pretend so now I don't mean to be crazy, y'all. I'm sorry, y'all, but there's a sister that was throwing water and got so-called shot by police that she invited into her house because she was robbed or she was a crime victim. And I'm going to say that the dialogue pre and the energy, just like the energy and the dialogue and the movements pre Floyd video, didn't seem to match with the outcome. Because I feel like people escalate. You could tell they get angry. You could tell they're starting to lose it. You could tell, you know what I mean? You could tell they're under defense. You could tell they're getting agitated. People gonna show you when they getting hyped, they getting agitated. Those scenes didn't play out like real scenes in life do. The energy didn't match. The dialogue did not match. Same like when you said with the whole thing with the so-called Trump thing. The people were not acting like they were freaked out. He was not acting like he was freaked out. The blood wasn't real, didn't look right. It wasn't enough. And his ear, it looked like that's a scratch, like a paper cut. That wouldn't happen from a daggone rifle, high-powered rifle at a distance. Okay? I'm not, you don't have to be a gun expert to speak on that. But I'm saying a lot of things are staged to elicit our emotion, to get our compliance, to really verify our stupidity. How dumb are they? How much can we control how they feel? Can we control their emotions? That Floyd thing was crazy. Well, first of all, they precondition everybody by having everybody hostage in their own homes, deprived of stimulation, you know, feeling deprivated, feeling daggone, just isolated, all that stuff. So people had a lot of emotions already. So they were kind of prepped. But the level of worldwide emotion that was elicited from that weird ass, hideous Masony dude just flabbergasted me. And the fact that people actually believed that a knee on your neck could precisely kill a big man, a small man could kill a big man with the imprecise placement of a knee, and you can still holler mama when you can't breathe. The fact that everybody believed that, what does that say? I'm just saying, what does that say? We're so used to looking at fake stuff, we can't tell the real from the fake. We can't tell. We see more fake stuff than real.
Say more fake stuff, eat more fake stuff. Everything we do is artificial. But I have a lot of people calling, like the young lady that called tonight, and they come from different backgrounds. And some of the people I always get are always the Christians, because they're always telling me something from a Middle Eastern point of view when they're not Middle Eastern. When you ask them who their parents and grandparents, who their people are, it normally ends up here in America. And so this is one of the verses that I asked them to interpret for me from their point of view. And when they read it, and when we get into the frame of what I say, African Americans ain't Africans, they always have this dumb look on their face. The foreigners who reside among you will rise above you higher and higher, but you will sink lower and lower. They will lend to you, but you will not lend to them. They will be the head, you will be the tail. Who does that describe?
That's us, man.
Who does that describe? And when I have them read it, they had this look on their face like, huh? This is what, and we try to pretend like we don't understand it and see it. Like I said earlier, if this is what's going on today, what's going on in the world, what Jay was talking about, what Lisa was talking about earlier, what's happening in the world today, if this is going on in the world today, what's going to happen to your children? What's going to happen to your grandchildren? The people that call themselves African American Black, they don't care. So, we do these little programs to just share some light on something that's really needed. Because all we hear is talk from comedians, sports, and all this other stuff that don't matter. Remember, life isn't just your time here on earth. Just like the gaps in your breath, you have the same gaps in life.
Hey,
Don't
Jerry.
leave this place how you found it, because you're going to come back and it's going to be the same way. Jay, thank you for joining us and hanging out with us, man. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I just want to say one more thing. I was
Yes.
Let him go.
listening to a podcast that I think comes into play with some of the things I said about the world being a stage and the crisis actors and managers. He had actually said this. He specialized in psychological warfare, and he basically said that according to the FCC, the television is nothing more than an entertainment device, which defaults to, or which means that anything that comes off of it, and I'm sure you can include radio or any other media outlet that's on the internet, anything that comes from it doesn't have to be real or true. So what it's really defaulting to is any profession that's speaking from it. I don't care if it's a doctor, scientist, politician, lawyer, law enforcement, whoever. They don't have to tell the truth. The events on it don't have to be real because it's an entertainment device. So just keep that in mind.
It's
Well,
an
well, Jay,
entertainment.
thank you for hanging out with us, man. We appreciate that.
Thank you. I'm out.
Okay, cool. So again, going back to this chick that everybody's voting for and pulling for, and for those for those of you out there who live in California, you see what George Brown, how he was talking about her when it first came on. Ask the people in California what she did with the so-called African community, African American community, Black community up there. And so I got an image the other day. Somebody sent me an image of some Chuck Taylors, pink and green, wrapped in some pearls, sitting on top of the White House. And I was like, you gotta be kidding. The person who posted that cussed me out. And this person is 65 years old, lives in California. And I'm like, ma'am, you don't know. And this is what I'm saying. These are our grandmothers, our mothers. So that type of person, what do you think are they teaching the kids? What kind of information, or how do you think they're engineering those children to think? And I think engineering is a good word. How you think they thinking them to think? What do you think they're engineering them to think about? Are they engineering them to think about what's going, this election thing? Every time something dumb happens, we gonna keep going with it? Are we, Lisa?
Can't. I mean, we can, because unless you do something to change your direction, yeah. I mean, this is the thing. I think they have programmed us into being a selfish people, something that we were never. They have programmed us into being the type of people that leave each other behind, that don't think about the future, that don't think about anybody else but yourself. If I'm good, that's all I got. That's it. Like people say, I feed myself, my whole family's fed. Stuff like that. There's a whole mentality that has been changed in us, where we wouldn't think of not feeding people when they come around. Like we wouldn't think of not telling somebody about something new, great that we found out, and sharing whatever we got, or yeah, come on, congratulating each other when we win. And we just lost a whole sense of love for each other. It's a love that's lost. There is a love and a value that has been lost in us. See, and I'm gonna be doing a couple of bills lately, because I've learned so many things about the ACAMAC, and I know y'all, but see, the ACAMAC can encompass so many different people, as we're learning, so that odds are that you're an ACAMAC and you don't know it. But what I'm gonna say is, because we don't really realize how our people have put things aside for us. And what I find, if I'm finding out all this about just one people, what's going on all over the place? What else is there out there? Who is sitting in Arkansas just acting like they're African American and really catching hell every day and getting pushed and pulled around and struggling, when in reality they're sitting on some kind of gemstone mine or some type of oil wealth or some anything, because they don't know who they are and they're not willing to fight to know it, and they're not willing to fight to get it back. They're not willing to go to jail. They're not willing to deal with these crackers or Negroes or whatever they are, these Black Americans, these African Americans that's going to stand in your way. They're not willing to face off. But guess what? Your ancestors, especially if they put aside a patent or if they fought in court, like we found out that the Akamat Genghis fought in court more after they teach us that we were terminated, that after the Nat Turner uprising, oh yeah, we were ran off our land. But what we didn't know was really probably that was the impetus to the Nat Turner so-called uprising, which I call the Indian War. Because the reality is what happened was we had a sister and several other Genghis Khan Indians that fought in court and won 6,000 acres. So I think the people, the powers that be, were pretty angry about that. And it's more than likely that whole war was told in reverse. That whole uprising is not at all true. They were probably whipping and trying to burn us out and killing our babies. And we retaliated it was an all-out Indian war because they were pissed. Because that was one of many suits that we filed, not just us, many people. A lot of people were filing freedom suits. They call it. They have them stored in the Library of Virginia and the Library of Congress as freedom suits. But really, it was about various things: freedom, not being classified as slaves, and also we was fighting for land. But that's all tucked away. So if your people were to risk their lives to fight for land in the 1800s or 1700s, whenever, if you had people that were sent to daggone Sierra Leone and sent to daggone the Congo and sent to daggone Asia out of America, sent to daggone Liberia, if your people were shipped away, if all these things really, if you really understand and believe that happened to your people, why are you sitting on your butt? Like, what? What does it take for you to realize that if we don't get this shit together right now, there will be no other time? There will be no other opportunity. And this is not really an opportunity because you got to make it an opportunity. It ain't going to present itself. You got to make it. You've got to take it.
And buying an 80-inch TV does not help make it.
Well, no.
And that's what we mean by engineered ignorance. We're engineered to support the people who are coming over, taking your land. Everybody, all the males who try to be Hebrew Israelites, all these other people won't even be themselves. Won't even be the people that fought for this land. We'll try to be something else, so we won't be ourselves. You see what's happening. So may I suggest, seriously, remember when you were a kid and you're trying to learn something and all you got was bullshit? I don't care, it's from your mom and daddy, your grandmama, whoever, and you questioned it. You knew something was wrong, but somehow they tricked you and engineered you to believe that some man was bringing some presents through the chimney. Somebody engineered you to believe that New Year starts in the dead of winter, and you still believe. Nothing in life has taught you that was all bullshit. you still believe it. About time to reevaluate your disposition. So, Lisa, that's all I have tonight.
Well, I think that we don't understand that who we are and what we need, what the assignment is. I don't think everybody has. I think people are refusing their assignment. I think, when you get that little itch, that little thing, that little nudge, that little feeling, that little maybe I should, maybe I could. I think folks are ignoring it. But they are steadily making us more and more dumbed out. People talk about, you see the video about them putting nanotechnology in Cokes and Pepsis and shit. It's supposed to make your mind like robotic or not, I don't know, numb. Nanotechnology going to your brain cells. Did y'all see that video? I should have taken it. I should have gotten it out. Yeah. So I mean, they're doing all kinds of stuff to us right now. And our children, God bless these babies and what they're going to put into them to try to make them not live long, not reproduce. I mean, they've been doing it over and over again. That whole thing. And then we believe, why do we always believe whatever they do is a one and done? Oh, they did that long ago. Tuskegee can't happen again. Yeah, Tuskegee. What makes people believe Tuskegee stopped happening? That's what I want people to understand. What makes people think it stopped? What's that evidence that it stopped? I'm waiting to figure that out, because I don't understand why people believe that it stopped.
I mean, I think what it is what it always is. The gatekeepers. See, these are people. See, we're easily influenced by people who have new cars, who wear a nice tie, who got their hair done properly. We're influenced easily by them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what have those people been?
Right.
At least I can say for the past 60 years, people who have jobs, we look at them as demagogues. No matter how demonic they show us that they are, the majority, not all, definitely not all, the majority worships them.
Right. So now people sit there and they talk about, they look at old movies, plantation movie, whatever, and they're like, oh, I would slap her. I would. Negro, you licking master in the face right now. Grinning and skinning, laughing at jokes ain't funny. Showing up when you don't need to be showing up, doing extra. Oh, I can't be off for the family reunion. Sorry, I got to work. That kind of stuff. I'm telling you, come on. Have we really changed that much? Has it really gotten any better?
Are hired to be the house Negras. When they are hired to be the faux, the pseudo American Indians, when they are hired to misdirect us into signing up to let the government control us and take handouts from the government, like recognized tribes, when they are hired to convince us to join unhistorical organization which are unconnected to any bloodline or any lineage or any land, they are there to misguide you. They are there to set you off from getting ever getting a chance for you or your progeny, your descendants, having what belongs to them. That's their pure intent. And their backroom conversations with their employers, with their overseers, look a lot like this. Hey, did you figure out how to do that? Oh no, Missy Scarlett. I don't know nothing about trying to be an Indian. I don't know nothing about fighting for my land. And I don't know. I'm scared. I'm scared I might go to jail. I'm scared I might get in trouble. Oh no. I don't know what to do.
I don't know. You told me you knew everything about it.
So that's the way we are. That's the way we act. That's the way we are. And that's the way they see us. They see us as dumb little childlike niggers who are easily manipulated and easily sold out, easily contented, and easily distracted. Just saying, that is what we do. And how are we going to change? Well, it starts with the choice, and the choice is yours. And it starts with saying that, you know what, I've had enough of this, and deciding that, we got to do something different. And we need to make that choice, though, to do something different. We need to make that choice to change how we move. We need to make that choice to change what we're willing to do, what we're willing to risk, what we're willing to work for, what we're willing to achieve. Because the only thing they can control is our consent. They can't control us without us consenting to it. But if we're just rolling over and going along with everything, there's no struggle there. That's not hard. You're making it easy. You say yes to it all, or you just ignore it, or you say nothing. But saying nothing is the same as saying yes. Doing nothing and saying nothing is the same as saying yes. So when we allow this ignorance to control us, when we don't, and it actually needs to start with, I think, if you can't get your 30-year-old child to get their head together about what they should be doing, or what you think, oh yeah, you really need to open a school or do whatever, then maybe you need to talk to the grandchildren. Maybe you ought to talk to the grandchildren about, well, what do you envision? Well, I think you should open a school. I think you should open a factory. I think you should open, get them to see what they envision differently than your children see it. Okay? The goal should not be to just merely start a business in this realm, but let's think about other things bigger than maybe a business that is typical. Maybe we should think about atypical businesses, factories, building, creating, manufacturing. Start these babies thinking differently. They don't just want to work for somebody. They don't just want to be a small business owner. Make them think about being major, being manufacturers, developers of towns and cities and territories. But you have to make that infrastructure available to them. And if you don't fight for any rights for them so that they can move differently and dream bigger, you're not going to give them anything, right? You got nothing. They got nothing to work with. And right now, the way these immigrants are edging them out of existence, they won't have a chance. So do something. Do something or be doomed. What you got to say? I'm done with this.
So when you said do something, what popped in my head is remember that song by Macy Gray, "Get Up, Get Out, and Do Something." And one of the things I don't know, many of you may be a little young, but about 30 years ago, when I was a youth in LA, after the Rodney King verdicts, they tore up the city. During that time, a little young girl was shot in the head by a Korean store owner. She was killed.
I remember that.
You remember that. Since that time, a lot of us in LA, I doubt if many people are doing it today because LA is just when you say United Nations, nations from all over the world are set up in LA, and the Negro is all of their customers. And most of those Negroes are from somewhere in the South. It's probably like that in every city. Negroes don't know nothing. When the sister got killed, we made a pact that we're going to stop buying from these immigrants. Only a few of us did.
Oh wow.
You have brothers and sisters that grow food, especially if you live in the Southeast. Farmers steal. You get your food from them. There's things that you can do. You used to worship nature, work with it hand in hand. Most of us scared of it now. That used to be your religion, your spiritual practices through nature. You've taken on other people's spiritual ideologies. Where's it gotten you? You see, natural people have been turned into engineered, artificial ignorance. And I'm not saying it to be a smart ass. I'm saying it because it's true. Really. If you went into any of these nations that occupy your land right now, would they treat you how you're treating them? Would they treat you the same way if you were in their homes? You guys think about that. Because I know many of you don't listen and they don't know what they're talking about. Pay attention. Other people see it and we don't. So we just wanted to share that with you, give you a little inkling on what's going on with this chick Kamala Harris coming in. I mean, the dumb shit is over, y'all. You can
But
keep playing these.
Carrie, let me ask you this. What do you think if they're actually planning to do something else, like bring in, Obama, Michelle Obama? What you think? What you think about that possibility? You think they're going to actually do that? Because a lot of people say that this is not even going to happen. That they're going to bring in Michelle Obama. That's already been planned.
I think people can see through that. What is she? What
Michael,
is Big Mike?
Big Mike.
And things like that. We don't get it. I mean, stuff that's right in our face. We don't. The majority of what you call African Americans, we don't get it. This artificial intelligence thing that's going around, we think that has more intelligence than we do. No, I'm not saying, when I say we, I'm not saying all, because some people got their foot planted on the ground, they see what's happening. But the majority of people, and if you're on social media, you see it. You have to shake your head at, damn, this is how it is. So like Lisa was saying earlier, at least pass your children off something that you weren't given. Learn something. Read something. And don't let these people dictate your thought. I mean, your speech. Curb your speech. Censor your speech. Because when they censor your speech, they censor your thoughts. So we're going to go ahead and close out now. Thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight. Think about what's going on and what's coming up. Think about what's going to happen in the next 3 months. They're showing you. It's up to all of us to leave these children with something better than we had. You guys have a good night. Peace out.